One-time sales are great, but not knowing what to buy or how many to plan for can make you crazy. In this episode, I'm chatting with Stacey Collins on how she took one-time box sales and curated a booming quarterly subscription.
Welcome to the Launch Your Box podcast with weekly tips, tricks, and strategies to start, launch, and grow your subscription box. Now, here's your host, Sarah Williams.
Hey everybody, I'm here today with my friend Stacey Collins from Wilshire Collection. Stacey has an awesome subscription box called Décor at Your Door. I can't wait to share it with you on this episode. Stacey, tell them hello. Tell them a little bit about Wilshire Collections.
Hey y'all, thank you Sarah for having me. I'm Stacey, owner of Wilshire Collections. I am a DIY and decorating blogger, and I love all things crafty and all things just making your home beautiful. So I spend a lot of time over on Facebook doing lives and crafting and sharing decorating tips and tricks, and I love shopping too. So that's a big part of the equation.
So how did your love for crafting really transition into a home decor subscription box?
So as I said, do a lot of lives. I do a lot of crafting, but then I also show people what I do with those crafts afterwards and how I style them, or just anything that I do around my home. I'm always doing projects or just, rearranging my decor. I'm a chronic rearranger. And so a lot of times I would post a picture of my living room, my mantle, and end table, whatever it may be. And I just would always get questions. Where did you get that? Where can I get that? Do you sell that in your store? And at that time, I wasn't selling any decor. I didn't have any physical products like that. And I was hesitant to just sell one random picture frame on my site. I couldn't see how that really would fit and make sense in my business with everything else I had going on. So, but I started seeing the need for it, and I started seeing that people wanted those decor items. So
I think you've totally just downplayed everything, because if you know Stacey or if you follow Wilshire Collections, she has like magazine worthy living room and mantle and home decor everywhere. So I'm sure everyone wanted to know how they could make their living room or their tablescape or their entryway look exactly like yours, because it is magazine worthy, and you're showing them how to do it. And then not only showing them how to do it, but then you're showing them how to style it and how to decorate with it.
And it's hard when I'm like, well, I got this at, Hobby Lobby, but it was 3 years ago. So you can't really get this anymore. And so, they were wanting the things that I had in my home and was decorating with.
So let's just go back a little bit.
Yep.
So almost a year ago, you joined Launch Your Box.
Yes.
And at that time, you have a great business.
Yep.
You had started a kind of one-time boxes every season. So every season you were curating these home decor boxes, but they weren't on a subscription yet. You had you just show up and you would sell them, and then it would be done. And then you would curate another box, you would show up, you would sell it, and it would be done. And I want to know, what were the challenges of selling? Because you weren't just selling 10 or 20, you were selling how many?
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, I think the very first one I did, I ordered 150 of the items, and I thought, oh, I'm probably going to get stuck with some of these. I thought that might be too much, but it ended up being the exact opposite. And I sold out, within probably 15 minutes, my first launch of just a one-time box, and quickly realized that the need was there and that people wanted these boxes. And so for me, it was quickly figuring out, okay, well, what quantity do I need to get and how am I going to do this? I love seasonal decor. And so I started off with just a Christmas box, because I'm like, this is the holidays. Let's just put a little, the perfect time to try it. And I'm like, I'll just see if they like it. And then I was like, oh, okay, they like it, So then when the next year rolled around, I was like, let's keep trying this, but try it seasonally. And I'm kind of known for my seasonal decorating. So I was like, let's try, spring box, summer box, fall box, Christmas box. And I was selling those, like you said, just as a one-off, not as a true subscription at that time. So
what made you want to really put that on a subscription?
Like to move it over to a subscription. So when I started just doing them as one-offs, I kind of did it because I wanted to make sure that it was a good fit into my business, but also that everyone else liked what I was doing.
Right.
And once I realized that it was on both ends, I knew that it was going to be easier in the long run to set it up as a subscription to where I'm not every single quarter having to go out and, post those that they're for sale. And I've got that recurring
and hope that they sell,
and hope
right?
that they sell. Exactly. And it gave the ladies that were buying the boxes as one-offs were wanting it as a subscription because that gave them that security, because they
didn't have to show up to your live and hope they got
it, because they were used to them selling out so fast and people getting disappointed if they didn't get one. So they were asking, like, can we lock these in? Can we go ahead and sign up for the next time? And of course, that first year I had to be like, no, not yet.
Yeah.
But that's why I was like, I don't want to have to tell people no anymore. So it worked out really well.
Awesome. So you moved it into a subscription.
Yes.
And now how have you grown?
I mean, we have definitely doubled since last year. And I mean, but on average, we're going to be doing about 400 boxes this year, which is so awesome. And honestly, I could maybe do more than that, but that's just where I'm comfortable with right now, just with where we're shipping them from and boxing them and all of that. But it's just been amazing to see the growth. So
it's such a good number. And I think that so many subscription box owners would love to be at that number, but it's like what you said, you really have to grow into it. You can't just throw a whole bunch of stuff at somebody that's, trying to figure out all the logistics, because there's a lot of challenges. Once you figure them out, it's okay, but you don't want to do that with 5,000 boxes. You want to do that with 400 boxes.
And that's why I feel like it was like a good learning year the first year. Okay, this is what works. This is what doesn't. And it also gave us an idea of how big we could scale and what we were comfortable with for right now. And that doesn't mean that might not be more down the road, of course, but for now, that was kind of our, comfort area.
There's a lot of factors in how much you can take on. And let's just talk about those for a minute, because there's staff. So as you take on more subscribers, you're going to need more hours or more employees. So that's something that you have to decide. With what the staff I have now, we can handle the 400. If we can't handle more, do I want to hire someone to be able to handle that or not? You've got to look at the space you have to fulfill, because your box is not a small box.
No. And they're big items.
They're big items. So you don't want to, you can't pack in the, in the
my
hallway.
Garage. Exactly. On the kitchen table. That is not going to cut it.
I know a lot of us started there.
Yes. I've shipped plenty of things from my kitchen table. Yeah.
You don't want to keep doing that month after month when it's kind of a hard situation. So you've got to factor in all these little things that eventually are going to cost more money. So you've got to invest more to grow more. And if you're comfortable and happy with 400, you stay there. You're profitable. You're making money. You're creating reoccurring revenue. So there's no reason to have to feel like you need to grow so fast.
The pressure of exactly. I completely agree with that.
There's one thing that makes you a little different than a lot of us subscription box owners, and that's the fact that this is a quarterly subscription versus a monthly subscription. So I want to talk a little bit about what are the reasons that you chose for this subscription to be quarterly?
So, I mean, a couple of different reasons. Like I mentioned, I'm kind of known for seasonal decorating. It's my favorite. I love being able to, like I said, I like to redecorate a lot. So it's a good excuse to change out your decor as each new season rolls around. I don't go all out and decorate every inch of my house, but I have certain areas I like to decorate, and that's what I feature on the blog. And so it just seems like a natural thing. Like, okay, when I'm decorating for spring, I can show them and send them these items that they can also decorate with. So that was one of the reasons. I just love the seasonal decorating, but also because I do have so many other areas and avenues of my business, I wasn't sure that I could commit to a monthly box and just adding that, to my plate. So quarterly just seemed more manageable for me.
It didn't seem overwhelming.
It didn't seem overwhelming. Exactly. The thought of monthly, I felt like, okay, we get them out the door and then we're doing it again, and I just thought, I think quarterly is a better fit for us right now. So,
and you mentioned to me that the anticipation in between the quarters, it really builds up the excitement for these boxes. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it really does, because there is a little bit of a gap in between when they get their boxes. By the time rolls around that spring box or that summer box is coming, they are ready for it. They're excited for it. And I don't know. It's just, it's a fun thing to watch because people, they just anticipate it so much.
And I think that rolls into the whole experience of the box. And I want to break that down for you because, a lot of times we talk about this inside the membership, that it's not about the things, right? It's, you think it's a box of things, but we're really curating an experience for them. And for you, you're putting it all together for them. Some people just can't see things the way that you see things. And so you're just creating a convenience. You're creating an experience for them. Let's talk a little bit about how you do that inside your box.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, I just thought of this. My boxes are mystery. So they're surprise boxes, which in the beginning, in my head, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to do a surprise. I want to show them the things because I was like excited, but they all wanted it to be a mystery. And so that has been huge just because not only do they have that anticipation of, yay, it's time for that box to come, but what's going to be in the box? What has she picked out this time? And the thing is, I've built up so much trust with all my ladies that they know I'm going to pick out cute stuff that they like. If they like my style, they're probably going to like what's in the box. So that has been really cool, to see that or whatever. But
you create these style sheets.
Yes, the style sheets. Yes. So I want them to have the experience. I don't want them to open up a box and go, oh my gosh, all this cute stuff from Stacey.
I don't know
now
what. Yeah.
Now what? Now what do I do? So I include a style sheet where I usually show 3 different ways that I style the decor items in my house. So I'll show the pictures and then I give a little description. Like if I add something to it, like I just stacked this vase on some old books, and then put a candle next to this and show them how to create little vignettes, which is just a fancy word for a little grouping of objects. So that way they can actually feel like, hey, I not only got this cute decor, but I've decorated it in my house and it looks great. So it's a whole experience for them for sure.
You're really helping them consume those contents of those boxes, because you and I both know that if our subscribers get a box and they don't know what to do with it, or they don't know how to use it in a way that makes them happy or makes them, actually take it out and use it, it's going to sit in the box. And then the next box is going to come and it's going to stack on top of that box.
Right.
And then the next box might come and they think, why?
And then they're going to get frustrated and be like, I'm not even using this. I don't know what to do with it. Yes.
I'm just going to cancel it.
So I try them, and then I do live reveals, just like you do afterwards. And then I always I'm sure to share pictures on my page. Like, this is how I styled the item. So I try and do as much as I can to kind of just lead them through that process. So
I love it. And I love let's talk about your new box, because you're really known for this buffalo check pattern. And it's kind of your signature behind your brand. And recently, just this last month, you sent out your box with this beautifully custom buffalo plaid box. I know your subscribers are going to freak out.
Flip out. I can't wait. They just shipped, so they should be getting them anytime.
But those of us that are just getting started, that may not have the extra money to invest in a box like that, because it does cost more money.
Absolutely.
You didn't start that way, and it's okay not to start that way. And I want you to tell them like how you started, what you used, and then how it's evolved.
Well, my very first little trial box was just shipped out of a brown Amazon box with no sticker, nothing fancy. I mean, it was really, really basic. And then once I decided to kind of do it a seasonal thing, but not subscription, I went with a white box that I got off Amazon. I ordered some cute stickers from Sticker Mule that had my Decor at Your Door logo. And I was happy as a clam. Like, I loved those stickers. I thought those boxes were great and cute. The ladies loved them. But I knew this year, after I was rolling it into a subscription, I see your box and I see all these cute boxes. I'm like, I want to have a cute box one day. So I do think that's something that if you can't do it right off the gate, at the end of the day, do they like the cute box? They're going to love the cute box, but they care about what's inside, So if you can't do that cute box at the beginning, it is okay.
It is. We want everyone to be profitable. And so
and that's more important than
if that $2 takes away your what's going to go in your bank account at the end of the month there, we don't want to do that. We want you to be profitable first, then take some of those profits as you build this subscription base up and invest it in the boxes, because the more boxes you can buy at one time, the cheaper the
they're going to be. And that was the other thing that was important to me, to be able to buy them in bulk so that I could could, save a little bit on that end.
And I know you told me before we got started here that your ladies are probably going to save those boxes.
Yeah.
And that's just another part of the experience,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
They're going to save them. They'll probably put their old seasonal, they can put their old
they
seasonal
could use them for
decor.
storage. That's I'm excited to actually see how they use the boxes.
Yes.
Some of them are so creative. They might store their craft supplies in them or their decor. I mean, who knows? But I know they're excited just to get those boxes in general. So,
well, I really love your journey of really testing this out. One, you told me you wanted to make sure that you loved it just as much as your customer. And I think that's super smart of you to really put it out there as a one-time box. We do this seasonally. I know you did it at Mother's Day when you first got started. That's always a great time to sell some extra gift boxes. I do it at Christmas as well, because it really lets you test out and get your box in front of other people.
Right. Yeah.
But you tested it and you decided that quarterly was the answer for you. And it's not the answer for everyone. And I get asked all the time, should I do monthly or quarterly? And there's pluses and minuses both ways.
Absolutely.
You just have to figure out what works for you
and for your business and for your customers,
Yes.
Yeah.
Stacey, there's people listening that have a subscription box that are growing it. There's people listening that are just getting started. They may have had this idea. I know I sat on it for a year. You probably sat on it for a while. What advice would you have for anyone wanting to start a subscription box?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is just to not overthink it. Even though I had an idea in my head, I'm the kind of person that if I sit and stew on something too long, I'm going to think of every reason why I shouldn't do a subscription box, why I don't have time. I don't have this. I don't know if people like, whatever it may be. But if you know that the need is there, and I knew that the need was there, I knew that my ladies wanted this. If you know that you have a good idea, your customers want this, don't overthink it, do it, and you're going to figure out the rest. It's not going to be perfect from day one. I don't know anyone who's ever launched anything and had it just right from day one, but you're going to figure out those little things along the way, and it's all going to work out in the end. So just don't sit on it for too long. Just don't overthink it. That would be my biggest advice.
It's always messy. And I think that we always overthink it. I still overthink everything.
Yeah, I overthink everything.
So just know that everybody is doing that. So that shouldn't be what stops you. It's always messy. I'm like, let's do it and figure it out later.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that that's the way to go sometimes. So
Stacey, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. If they are not following you, tell me where they can find you and get on your waiting list for Décor at Your Door.
Yes. So if you go to my website, wilshirecollections.com, you'll see the Décor at Your Door button right there. You can click that and get on the wait list. You can find me on Facebook at Wilshire Collections, and then Instagram Wilshire_collections.
And we'll put all of those links for you in the show notes.
Awesome.
So all you have to do is go over to the show notes and you can find Stacey.
Yay.
Stacey,
thank you. This was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Y'all have a great day. If the idea of creating a subscription box is swirling around in your head, I encourage you to head over to launchyourboxwithsarah.com, get on our waitlist, and grab some of our free downloads to help you get started. That's launchyourboxwithsarah.com.